Krishna.
So we're sitting in, what is this? I think it's called the meeting room, the meeting area or something like that. No, what is this area called?
Party room.
Okay, so we're in like the party room of the place we're staying in. And yeah, it's nice. This is actually the building that we're in. You can't see it so well from there, but and this is the way it looks. So they really did a massive reconstruction on the place. But anyway, why are we here? We're here to read Srimad Bhagavatam. So
Canto 4, chapter 24, text 67.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So, text 67. My dear Lord, any learned person knows that unless he worships you, his entire life is spoiled. Knowing this, how could he give up worshipping your lotus feet? Even our father and spiritual master, Lord Brahma, unhesitatingly worshipped you, and the 14 Manus followed in his footsteps. Purport. Who's that?
It doesn't matter. Read the
It's just
Bhagavatam.
people walk by. Purport. The word Pandita means a wise man. Who is actually a wise man? The wise man is described in Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, text 19 in this way. Bahunam janmanam ante jnana vamam prapadyante vasudeva savam iti samahatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, here is actually knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and as all that is. Oh, hold on. Knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. So let's look at this now.
Please, let's look at it.
Hold on. Let's see on this paragraph. I'll put this button. Well, I think this is like a poster boy equivalent of a poster boy sort of thing. This is anyway, this verse is devotee care. Let's look at it, right? I won't talk about it too long, right? But it says, any learned person knows that unless he worships you, his entire life is spoiled, right? Just remember that, part of that. And then you go to the verse that is quoted from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 19. And basically, Krishna is saying, after many births and deaths, many births and many deaths, he who is in knowledge surrenders to me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. So you part that. So between those two things, where any learned person knows that unless he worships Krishna, his life is spoiled, well, we know those who comes to this path and actually actively take part and or otherwise, but we know that, and that's why we come to the path and try to remain connected. And then you have such a great soul is very rare who does that. Therefore, how important is it to look after those people that come to this path? You know, and because as Prabhupada says, it takes gallons of blood to get one person. And when they come to the knowledge, as our spiritual master has said, not all the time, but most of the time, people will leave because they're hurt. And because of the interactions, not because of the philosophy, not because of what Prabhupada said or the sadhana or whatever. As much as people can't wake up in the morning or whatever, it's not because of that, It's because of how we feel we're being treated. So such a great soul, when someone walks through that door, what to think of someone who dedicates their life, or who should I say, who gives their youth. And those of us who are going towards our twilight years, we know how precious the youth is. It's like such a great soul. Yeah, so we need to really look after the devotees. Now, what does that mean? That don't mean you will always stay in the position you're in. Because life goes on, man. And you won't. It doesn't always mean, wow, you're going to give me money. But it means like, somehow or the other, just as in our own families, we look out for each other. We make sure, are you okay? You know, we make sure they feel they're still part of the family, even if, like you were saying, like people who divorce from our family, but some people, cultures, you're still part of the family. Just because you divorced my brother, don't mean you're not my sister still, for example, you know. Imagine that. So if someone has some sort of fall down, or even if they're just deemed as you're not doing that service anymore, how important is it to make sure that they still feel included and part of Prabhupada's spiritual family, which we're all in and milking whatever way we're milking it, you know? So important. So for me, when I read that, it was like, yeah, such a soul is very rare. Someone who actually gets that knowledge. And we need to be careful that we don't snuff out that enthusiasm.
Yeah, it's so easy to be opinionated and controlling, domineering, or thinking we're right about this or right about that when it comes to other people. And ultimately we're all fumbling around in the material world, just trying to figure it out and trying to get out and trying to enjoy or trying to stop enjoying, and we're just all struggling, as Bhagavad Gita says, with the senses, six senses, which includes the mind. Anyway, it's a very powerful point, how rare a devotee is and how important it is that we try to look after them and care for them. Next paragraph. Thus, when the wise man actually becomes wise after many births and whimsical attempts at self-realization, he surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Such a Mahatma, or learned person, knows that Krishna, Vasudeva, is everything. Vasudeva Sarvamviti. Learned persons always think that life is wasted unless they worship Lord Krishna or become his devotee. Srila Rupa Goswami also says that when one becomes an advanced devotee, he understands that he should be reserved and perseverant. Interesting. He should be reserved and perseverant, kshanti, and that he should engage in the service of the Lord and not waste time, avyartha kalatvam. He should also be detached from all material attraction, viraktihi, and he should not long for any material respect in return for his activities, mana shunyata. He should be certain that Krishna will bestow his mercy upon him, asha bandha, and he should always be very eager to serve the Lord faithfully, samutkanta. The wise man is always very eager to glorify the Lord by chanting and hearing, namagane sada ruchi, and he is always eager to describe the transcendental qualities of the Lord, asaktistad gunakyane. He should also be attracted to those places where the Lord had his pastimes, pratistad vasati stale. These are symptoms of an advanced devotee. Well, that's one heck of a list. And as I was reading it, I was thinking, nope, not that one, nope, not that one, nope, not that one. So, realization is there's a long way to go and a lot to work on.
An advanced devotee, or a perfect human being who is actually wise and learned, cannot give up his service at the lotus feet of the Lord. Although Lord Brahma has a long lifespan, 4,340,000,000 years, constitute 12 hours in the day of Brahma. Brahma is afraid of death and consequently engages in the devotional service of the Lord. Similarly, all the Manus who appear and disappear during the day of Brahma are also engaged in the Lord's devotional service. In Brahma's one day, 14 Manus appear and disappear. The first Manu is Swayambhuva Manu. Each Manu lives for 71 yugas, each consisting of some 4,320,000 years. Although the Manus have such a long lifespan, they still prepare for the next life by engaging in the devotional service of the Lord. In this age, human beings only live for 60 or 80 years, and even this small lifespan is gradually decreasing. Therefore, it is even more imperative for human beings to take to the worship of the lotus feet of the Lord by constantly chanting the Hare Krishna mantra as recommended by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Trinada Visanich Netarori Vasahishna Amani Namana Dena Kirtaniya Sadahari. That's the Shikshastikam verse 3.
Yeah, okay. It's not the end of it, no problem.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that we might think Lord Brahma's lifespan is so long. I mean, 12 hours is like 4 trillion, billion, gazillion years. But it's relative, so for him it is still short. Just as 12 hours is short for us, but for like a little microbe, it's like, wow, that human being lives for such a long time, but we know we don't. So 12 hours is nothing. So yeah, it's just relative for the Manus and for Lord Brahma, and that's why they're also like, oh my God, they're in anxiety because they see their own mortality and they engage in the Lord's service.
Okay, continuing. When one is engaged in devotional service, he is often surrounded by envious people. Sounds ironic. And often many enemies come to try to defeat him or stop him, internal and external. This is not new in this present age, for even in the days of yore, Prahlad Maharaj, who was engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, was harassed by his demoniac father, Hiranyakashipu. The atheists are always prepared to harass a devotee. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu suggested that one be very tolerant of these people. Nonetheless, one has to continue chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and preaching the chanting of this mantra, because such preaching and chanting constitute the perfection of life. One should chant and preach about the urgency of making his life perfect in all respects. One should thus engage in the devotional service of the Lord and follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas, beginning with Lord Brahma and others. Wow, so that's quite a powerful verse and purport. But specifically this aspect of the purport, it really stood out that somehow by the performance of devotional service, it kind of attracts people who are envious. Means they want it, but they don't have it, so therefore they don't want you to have it either, and therefore they want to break you down and destroy you, and try to defeat or stop you from making forward progress. So I made the comment, that could be internal and external. Of course, externally we know that these things do happen, especially, you have, for some reason, the story of Jesus Christ came to mind, and how he was doing so much, and you think that people would be like, wow, this is amazing, what a swell guy, what a nice person, let's support him, he's trying to make a difference. But instead, there was, whatever his name was, Pontius Pilate, I think, this king and ruler who was envious of the fact that this person was so loved by everyone in the kingdom because of what he was trying to do to help others. So basically he had him killed. So this is the kind of spirit that exists in the material world. And the sooner we get used to accepting and understanding that is the way that it is and the way that it rolls, probably the better. Because make no mistake, be in no illusion that the material world is a place of challenge and difficulty. And any progress that Prabhupada says, in the days of yore, even Prahlad Maharaj was just a 5-year-old boy trying to do some service, and his father was so demoniac that he was trying to kill him. So this is the nature of the material world. So let us read, study, be, what were the 2 words Prabhupada said? Perseverant and, do you remember what the other word was?
No.
Anyway, perseverant. Anyway, if you remember what it was, you can put it in the thing. I can't find it now. Perseverant. I remember that because I had to learn that word when I was in school, and I didn't know what it was, and the teacher said, because I don't understand what perseverance is. So anyhow, like that, we need to be perseverant. We need to keep a cool head and just continue, as they say in England, keep calm and carry on. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you all very much. Grantar Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.